training events, code labs, and hackathons. Submit your solution by March 31st, 2021. Register today. We can't wait to see what you build.
Let's get started. Developer student clubs are university-based communities where students learn about Google technology and use their skills to solve local problems. Welcome to the Developer Student Club's 2020 Solution Challenge Demo Day.
Hi everyone. The mission of this year's Google Developer Student Club Solution Challenge is to solve for one or more of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals using Google technology. Citing the official United Nations website, these goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. During this video, I will show you how you can research these goals and brainstorm ideas for your Solution Challenge project. So starting with the official UN SDG site, the first thing I suggest you do is click on each of the goals and read the challenges each goal faces. For example, Goal 1, No Poverty. This page will give you a good primer to the challenges we face on our road to no poverty. And down at the bottom of the page, you can take a look at the facts and figures and the breakdown of targets defined for each goal. There's also an infographic you can check out to get a high-level overview of the current state of things as it relates to the specific goal. Go over the rest of the goals to get familiarized with them and see if any ideas come to mind about solutions you can build using technology. If ideas do arise, write them down to brainstorm further later. Another great site that can really help you generate solution ideas is DIAL, which stands for Digital Impact Alliance. We're going to focus on two tabs, SDGs and the building blocks, but I urge you to look at the other tabs. They're just as useful for your ideation stage. Okay. So let's look at the SDGs tab and take a look at Goal 2, Zero Hunger. This goal has 8 targets, which help you focus on solving a certain aspect of the goal. For example, Target 1, which summarizes as end hunger by ensuring access by all people to good, healthy food all year round. Okay, so immediately ideas start to spark. Maybe you can build a charity app that either accepts donation-safe healthy food or accepts monetary donations dedicated to providing food. Or maybe you can build a volunteering platform that brings people together to help the community at risk. Brainstorm with your team and see what aspects of these problems you are familiar with, or maybe you have access to communities who are dealing with the challenge. Having personal knowledge of a problem will allow you to design solutions which are far more effective and easier to adopt. Now, let's take a look at Goal 10, Reduced Inequalities. Target 1, achieve and sustain income growth for the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. What a well-defined target. Okay, so now you can start brainstorming again on how you can achieve progress through technology here. Maybe you can build an app or a platform that educates people on financial and saving strategies. Or maybe you can help small businesses grow through education apps or e-commerce and marketing apps that are specific to your community. For example, in my community, the elderly struggle with finding online educational content, and I might consider building an elderly-friendly educational platform. This platform can potentially provide the elderly with equal opportunities at learning new skills and at increasing their income. You'll see that going through these web pages will spark many ideas in your mind. Write them down and discuss them with your team. See which idea really strikes a chord with your ability and your belief. You'll be working on this for a while. You want to solve a goal that you are passionate about or that's really close to home. In the next video in the series, I'll be going through a demo case study. I'll pick up an idea and simulate the steps my team and I will take towards a successful demo submission. I hope the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals inspire you to solve for your community in a meaningful way. We can't wait to see all of your demo submissions.
Speaking at an AirMeet event? Awesome! Allow us to help you with the basics of AirMeet. As a speaker, you will be provided with a unique speaker link to enter the AirMeet event. Click on the link, and you will directly enter the AirMeet. No sign-in required. In case you have any issues with the link, don't sweat. You can just enter the session directly and ask the host to invite you on stage as a speaker. Once you've entered the AirMeet, you will land in the reception area. The reception is the official welcome area of AirMeet. Here, you can see what's happening live on stage. Check out the public chat and DM the host of the event to learn about your schedule. Click the Sessions tab, and you will be able to see the Go Backstage button for the session you are mapped to. Enter the backstage to have a private conversation with the host before the event, do a dry run, or to simply test your audio, video, and presentation. Once everything is in order, the host will be starting the session. If the session is already live by the time you enter the event, you will be directly taken to the live stage. Once the session has begun, you can present your content, share your screen, and connect with participants via chat, Q&A, emoji reactions, live polls, etc. You can also request the host to play your pre-recorded content in the live stage. You can switch layouts and put highlight focus on a particular speaker. Participants can use the Raise Hand feature to request to share the stage with you and interact with you directly. Post your session, you can visit the lounge. The lounge allows you to interact with the participants and build meaningful connections through virtual tables and speed networking. And last but not the least, to ensure a seamless speaking experience, you're expected to log in with laptops and desktops with Chrome 79+, Firefox 76+, Internet Edge, and Brave browsers with a minimum internet speed of 10 megabytes per second. If you are in an unsupported browser or device, you will not be able to present, speak, or interact in an AirMeet event. Have a fantastic and engaging speaking experience with AirMeet.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. So, welcome to the first session of Ideathon 2021. Woo! I'm all alone here, and it's so dry. But yeah, before we start, let me introduce myself. So, my name is Joylyn, and I will be your host and your moderator today. Yay! So, last night we have our opening ceremony that is held in the Google Developer Space YouTube channel with our 4 speakers and a special guest. So if you guys miss it, you guys can watch it in the Google Developer Space YouTube channel. And so for today's agenda, we will be having 2 speakers with us, Mr. Shang Lim, who is the senior software engineer at Hubble, and also Mr. Albert Padin, who is the founder and CTO of Sim.co. Then after the speaker session, we will be having a Q&A session. So if you guys have any question, you guys can write it down on the chat and we will be answering it later at the end of the session. So without further ado, let's start our bootcamp for today. So let's give it up for Mr. Shang Lim, who will be giving us an overview of Google Tech and how it is used to help the community. Hi, Mr. Shang Lim.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everyone?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good as well. Thank you for having me on a Saturday. Thanks for joining on a Saturday as well. Yeah, so I guess I can just jump right into it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
The stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Shang, as earlier said. So yeah, I'm a Google developer expert in Firebase and also a software engineer at Hubble. So Hubble is a construction startup that helps digitize the construction industry. So if you're in Singapore, you might look, most likely some of the construction sites you see are powered by Hubble. So let's get started with today's topic. Today, I'll be talking to you about how you can use Firebase and how it can jumpstart your project. So before I begin in depth, let me just go through some of the stuff that we're going to go through, right? So the first few things that I'm going to guide you through is what challenges do developers usually face during development time, and how these challenges are addressed using Firebase tools. And we will then take a look at some of the few common projects that you can start using Firebase with. So to get everyone a bit to kickstart your engines today, I'm gonna just ask you to go to this link. If you have another device, please just go to this link, and it's a short poll so that I can understand the current audience with me today. Hold on a moment. Yep, so I'm having a link. I've shared the link, so hopefully you can get it as well. So let me just make the link more available to you guys. Yeah, just go to this link here and just help me out here so that I can understand you guys better. So this is there's only a few of you guys joining. So the first question I'd like to ask you guys is, have you actually heard of Firebase? So only a few of you have never heard of it. Some of you do. So maybe we can wait a while for more people to join. In case you're not sure which link to use, you can use this link. Yeah, so I guess the general consensus here is that most of you have heard of it, but never tried it yet. So yeah, this can be a really good introduction section on how Firebase can actually help you grow your project much better. So let's go to the next question then. So the next question is, what are usual challenges as developers do you usually face when you build an app? It can be a web app, it can be a mobile app, it can be a desktop app in general, but basically any sort of apps that you feel like building, what sort of challenges do you usually face? So I see some of you feel that maybe bringing the app online can be a challenge, especially once you finish developing, right? You want to be able to distribute and let other users access the app as well. We also see a large majority of users would want to have a way to ease their database development process as well. So I'm sure maybe during your hackathon time, these are some of the challenges surely that you would face in developing your app, right? Some way or another, you would need a way to store your data and present them in your projects. So another contender we have here is authentication as well. Okay, so let's get started right into the challenges. I roughly know what you guys are on about, so thank you for that. Let me just proceed. So Firebase, what does Firebase actually do? Firebase actually helps mobile and web teams succeed. So what does that actually mean? So let's take a look at it. So Firebase itself has a lot of suite of products, right? So these products are usually separated in three categories. One is to build better apps. These are some of the technology features that Firebase has to offer, products that Firebase has to offer to help you build your app. So early on, we have seen the challenges that you guys have faced, right? One of the few things were database development, authentication, a way to bring your app online. So a lot of Firebase products actually help you with these common challenges that developers face. So the first set of tools are for development during your development stage. And further on, once you have built your product, right, you want to improve your app quality. For example, you want to keep track of all the crashes that happens on your mobile app. You want to keep track of any performance in your app when users use it. And sometimes it is quite hard to track this. So this is where Firebase can actually jump in to help you out and provide you with metrics to help you out with that. So if you want to be able to create an app and you want to distribute your app to multiple testers, multiple beta users outside of the App Store, you can use the app distribution to help you out as well. So once you're done building your app and improving your app quality, next, some users, some of the apps would like a way to actually grow your user base, right? You want your product to get more users, get more user tractions. And these are some of the tools that Firebase offers to help you out with that, especially analytics. Analytics is an important tool to help you out as well. And if you want to send push notifications to your apps, to your web apps as well, and this is where these technologies can help you out. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at what Firebase has to offer for developers. It supports a few popular development environments. One of them, for mobile, of course, we have iOS and Android. If you're running on Flutter or React Native, we can use community supported libraries as well to help you out with that. We of course have web support, and if you are into IoT stuff or embedded devices or desktop devices, desktop apps, you can use C++. And if you're into games, you can use Unity as well. So without just this, we also do support for backend applications as well. So if you are building an app that primarily is a API that provides services to third-party clients, you can use the admin SDK that is provided as well. So today we're going to go through quickly one of the few key products that I would expect, no, not really expect, but I would hope that you guys would be using in order to solve challenges in your project, in your hackathon. So let's take a look quickly at some of the challenges you guys faced early on when we showed the poll, and see what tools that Firebase has to offer to help you solve this problem. So one of the few challenges is authentication, right? You want to prevent unauthorized users from accessing certain pages, and you only want to let authenticated users in. So this is an important thing that most apps would need in order to make sure that you don't have all this unauthorized access to your data. And this is where actually Firebase can actually help you. So Firebase authentication here is the identity as a service. What does that mean? It provides you a way to add identity checking, or basically login functionality, into any of your apps. And it supports the various ways of authenticating users. The most commonly used are email and password. And if you want to support social authentication as well, for example, Facebook, GitHub, etc., you can actually use that as well. If you want to support verifying phone numbers with Firebase, you can do that as well for free with using Firebase authentication as well. So in the event that you already have a authentication provider done, you can always use custom authentication to add on top of the existing authentication to use Firebase products. So authentication itself is a very important way to make sure that no unauthorized users get access to your application. So that way you can secure your data without having to think of how you can encrypt your data, how you can make sure that your data doesn't leak out, etc. So the next challenges you guys will face is that you want to be able to save data, right? Most of the time your apps will need to save data and display data in some form or another, right? So one of the few things that Firebase has to offer is to do real-time functionality. Firebase has a real-time database. What does that mean is that once data you add into the real-time database, it automatically pushes it to all the devices that is currently connected to the database. So if you're building for example, a IoT dashboard that shows sensor data, or if you're building an app that chats real-time chat or show real-time analytics data to your users, you can use Firebase real-time database to in a real-time fashion show all of this data to the users. So one of the few popular choices that people use real-time database is for chatting applications. And besides real-time database, Firebase has Cloud Firestore as well as a different database model as well. So this is primarily used to save and organize data. It supports real-time functionality as well, but not as fast as the real-time database, but it's pretty fast on its own. So if you want to be able to query and organize data in a way, I would suggest you to use Firestore. If you really need a fast real-time functionality to display dashboard data, for example, I would suggest you to use real-time database. So the other problem that developers will have is that besides creating an app, they want the ability to actually save resources. For example, you want the ability to attach files, pictures, you want to attach PDF documents, for example, or any sort of file that you would like. And usually developers would need to find a way to save this somewhere. So traditionally, without Firebase, you would need to, without cloud solutions itself, you would need to make sure you allocate an area on your server to store all these files. You need to write code to fetch and retrieve these files and serve these files to the user. So these are kind of complex for developers. If you want, especially if you're rushing for a project, or you're rushing for a hackathon, for example, where the key thing here is your feature, and the key thing here is what your product can do, and leave all the technical problems to be solved by Firebase itself. So easily allow Firebase to help you upload your images or your products, your attachments, and all of this can be propagated to all your clients who want to receive these resources as well. So this is what we call as cloud storage for Firebase. So you can serve media content easily, and it scales automatically as well. So you don't have to think of how much storage space you're going to allocate on your server. What if that space runs out and stuff like that? Everything is handled by cloud storage for Firebase for you. So another problem that developers will most likely face is writing business logic, right? You have an app, for example, but you need an area where you can write code that should not be exposed to the end users. For example, if you want to do any sort of online shopping application, right, and you want to hide the way you do calculations, the way you process payments, etc., everything should be done outside of your client app. So it has to live somewhere on a secure environment. So this is where Firebase Cloud Functions can help you. So you can write JavaScript. Basically, you can write JavaScript and deploy it straight away to the cloud, which you can write HTTP requests. So if you need to write APIs easily, you can just write what your API does on Cloud Functions and deploy it, and then you have an API endpoint. Or if you want to be able to write background functions that is triggered based on a certain event, you can do that as well. So it's really pretty much easy to do that. So once that's out of the way, I want to go through with you some examples of doing that. So imagine, let's say you have an app that sends an email immediately after the user has signed up. You can do that using a background function that is triggered when a new user is added. Or you want to process data in the background. For example, you have a lot of sensor data that is coming in. You want a cloud function that runs maybe every 1 minute to help you consolidate, make sense of this data. Then you can do that, and then you can push that data back to your database. So these are some of the examples that you can use. So another thing is that, let's say you have finished building your app, right? For example, you finished building your web app. You want to be able to show it to users. How can you do it easily and securely, most importantly, securely? So you can actually use Firebase hosting. What it does is that it allows you to host your front-end web apps to Firebase hosting. And what's great about it, it is secure. It has a free SSL already included by default. And it is backed by a global CDN, which means that your files will be replicated across the region so that people around the globe can easily access your data. And of course, it must support custom domains, right? So if you have your own domain, it's easily integratable with Firebase hosting. So with all of those features out of the way, let's take a look at some of the way you can use Firebase for your own project. So think of this as some of your ideas. If you haven't gotten an idea yet, or you already have an idea, but you're not sure how to implement it yet. So these are some of the few things that you can take into consideration when using Firebase for. So for example, you want to build web apps, right? So these are some of the technologies you can use for Firebase for web applications. If you need to do authentication, you can use Firebase authentication. You need your database, you can use your Cloud Firestore or real-time database. Storing files is easy with cloud storage, hosting. And if you need to perform any sort of secure codes that do something out of the user's point of view, you can always use Cloud Functions to help you out as well. So these are some of the technologies you could use with Firebase for web applications. Let's say you don't want to build web apps. Maybe you want to build iOS or Android devices or cross-platform apps, right? It's pretty much the same thing you can apply with the website, but you can add more things as well. So in this is not exhaustive. It's only some of the few commonly used things, but you can always go back to the Firebase documentation and take a look at all the different type of products that you can use. And for example, for mobile apps, if you want to do some simple machine learning, pre-trained machine learning, you can use Firebase machine learning as well to help you identify landmarks, labels, barcodes, faces, and stuff like that. So yeah, keep your creative juices going to see what Firebase has to offer. And if you're interested in trying to get solving your problems with Internet of Things devices, So these are some of the few things, some of the few approaches that is commonly used to kickstart your application to build a proof of concept. So most of the time you will need a embedded device with Wi-Fi support. In this case, the most commonly cheaply available one would be Node MCU, where you write C++ code. So we have C++ libraries to help you out with connecting to your IoT devices. So your IoT devices will read sensor data. You have all your sensors connected, or all sorts of actions that is recording all of this data, and you can push it to your real-time database using the SDK. So then with that data, you can have a cloud function that will make sense of all of this data. For example, your temperature, your humidity. Maybe you have a model in place to determine what to do with that data. And then you can maybe send an alert to devices, or even push it on your real-time database and display it on your dashboard. So this is one of the example. So this is a very simple proof of concept I've done just exactly following this approach. So on the center is a Node MCU device with Wi-Fi capability. On the right side here, you should see this is a flame sensor that detects temperature. So at a certain threshold, if it's over a certain temperature, I want to send a push notification to devices to alert that this area is above this particular temperature. So this is a very simple way you can easily get started with IoTs with Firebase. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at voice applications. If you don't want to build mobile apps or web apps, maybe you want to build voice application. For example, you call OK Google or Hey Alexa and stuff like that. You want to create voice actions to help you out.
You tell me what you want. I'll do my best to.
So this is some of the few things that you will need to use in order to get started with voice apps. So you will need an action on Google development environment, which can be done online easily for free. And for example, you want to be able to order a pizza, and you will need to send that request to Cloud Functions. So what will happen here is that you will write Cloud Functions to process this order request. But you don't have to handle the natural language processing of it. You don't need to handle the sentence structure, stuff like that. The actions on Google platform will help you handle that. But your Cloud Functions, all it needs to know is that it needs to know that there is a pizza, maybe how many quantity of pizza, what is the flavor, and stuff like that. And you can, of course, write code in your Cloud Function to help you process that order. Determine how much is each of the pizza, what is the size, and the total price. And then you send an invoice that is charging the customer's card, for example. And then you can, of course, just once that's all done, you can tell that, hey, the pizza order has been confirmed, and you can just output 2 actions on Google and a sentence to say that, hey, the pizza is arriving in 30 minutes, for example. So this is one way you could use voice apps with Firebase to help you out with that. Of course, this entire structure here, you can build it on your own. But why do you want to spend so much time getting infrastructure up when you can easily use Firebase with all of the infrastructure already built in for you? So another example is that you want to use voice apps and IoT at the same time. So for example, I will create a machine to say that, hey, make me a drink. And then your Google Actions will ask you, hey, what sort of drinks you want? And you can reply, you want a certain drink, right? And then it will save the data to real-time database. And your Node MCU can always check the data from real-time database. If there is a new order coming in, then you can process the order. So with all of this, there's an example that I would like to show you with just that. So forgive me, it was quite some time since I did this. So the time I didn't have a really good phone. So it's kind of blurry, but you can get the idea. So here I'm asking Google Voice to process an order. In this case, I asked for foam water, which is a mix of orange and Coca-Cola. So this entire device was built on top of a what do you call this? Raspberry Pi, and inside there is an Arduino that handles the actuation of the drink. So this is one example that you can do. So I know it's a lot of information to take in. So please take some time to actually look through the documentation. If you're interested in learning how you can use different various Firebase products that I've mentioned early on, please go to this link, Cloud Functions Code Samples. If you want to learn what you can work with Cloud Functions, you can take a look at this huge library of Cloud Functions. If you want to learn how to build a chat using Firebase, take a look at this code lab. It's a step-by-step guide through. If you want to see some examples of how you can use Arduino with Firebase, you can take a look at this link. If you want to learn how to build voice actions, you can always take a look at this code lab as well. So with that out of the way, thank you everyone. I hope you guys learned something today and have some ideas for your project.
Thank you, Mr. Shang Lim, for the insights on the Firebase and the cool example, the machine drink. That looks so cool. I might gonna try it one day. So if you guys have any questions, do let us know in the chat, on the Zoom chat, and we will do our best to answer it later at the Q&A at the end of the session. Well, now let's give it up for Mr. Albert Padin, who will be talking about the 3 powerful Google Cloud products to use in your project. Hi, Mr. Albert.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So, yeah, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. Your camera still look great, as always. Oh. Okay, so I'll let you take the stage now.
Sure. Okay, thank you. So, hi everyone. Thank you for having me on a Saturday morning. Thank you for joining. Today I'm going to be talking about 3 Google Cloud products that could, 3 cool Google Cloud products. Now, this is particularly hard because if I look at my screen right now and I'm going to share, maybe you can bring up my screen. So on stage. Okay, so there's my screen now. As you can see, like, what do you call this? I don't have slides. I will only walk you through a demo. So the way I'm going to do this is let's just go together like I'm a normal developer, just like you, or a student. And what do we do when we try to find out things? We Google. All right, so let's Google our way to Google Cloud. So first here we type Google Cloud and we type that and we see, okay, what's the first one is an ad and tells about another ad. So we're gonna click on this one over here. So as you can see, my Google is dark mode, so that's pretty cool. Okay, what do we see? Okay, we see the Google Cloud website, and in here I see this banner. It says new customers get $300 in free credits to spend on Google Cloud. Awesome. So if you're a new customer, means you haven't tried Google Cloud before, then you get $300. I'm an old customer, so I don't get $300 anymore. Okay, so let's find out about the products. And so let's click over on this link of here. We see products. We click that. It opens up this thing called featured products. And then there's so many other things in here. And as now you can see that I'm having difficulty picking 3 cloud products that are pretty cool because there's just so many products in Google Cloud. In fact, there's over 100 different products in Google Cloud. So today, I'm going to pick the top few. So first, we're going to go to something called App Engine. And the reason why I like App Engine is because it's the first thing that I ever used in Google Cloud. Actually, I started using this one back in 2008. So that's 13 years ago. That's the first Google Cloud product I used. This is the first Google Cloud product. In fact, trivia, before Google Cloud was called Google Cloud, it was called Google App Engine. Okay, so over here, the marketing blurb says, build highly scalable applications on a fully managed serverless platform. Who doesn't want that? It sounds so cool. Plus, again, you get $300 in free credits. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. So let's Google App Engine Quick Start. Right? So you Google that, Google App Engine Quick Start, and we're going to pick the Quick Start for Node.js in the App Engine standard environment. So let's go ahead and click that. And we're taken to the Quick Start for Node.js in the standard environment. So this is a tutorial that you can just go through. And the best part of this is costs. There are no costs associated with running this guide. In fact, you can run App Engine, deploy it into the cloud, run your web application on it, and as long as you stay within the free quota, which which for most applications, actually, you can stay within the free quota. You can have it running without any cost. So that's pretty cool. I have a lot of apps running at no cost to me in App Engine. So this is some homework here. Before you begin in the Google Cloud Console, you create a project. So let's go and create a project. So I do that by clicking here. Okay, this opens up the Google Cloud Console. So this is the Google Cloud Console is like your command center for Google Cloud. So I'm going to click here, over here, create project. So as you can see, I have some other projects in here, but I'm going to create a new project. So let's create a project, and let's call this Ideathon Demo. Let's see. Okay, so I can get the project ID, Ideathon Demo. And then I have a billing account, my organization, that's my company, civ.co. Let's press create. And now it's creating. It'll take a few seconds. So let's go back to the tutorial. And then we have to make sure the billing is enabled, which I already have. Enable the Cloud Build API. So let's click this one again. Dun-dun-dun-dun. We click that. Enable the API, the Cloud Build API. What's the Cloud Build API? For now, don't worry about it. Just click stuff in the tutorial. Cloud Build actually helps us build our application so it gets deployed in Google App Engine. So I have I have to select a project. When that happens, you select a project, Ideathon Demo. Dun, 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 dun. And refresh that one. Come on, work. This is a live demo. Come on. Okay, it stops me from creating. It's still creating the project. All right, let's go select project. And then let's go here manually to Cloud Build. Cloud Build. And then let's go here, click that. And then I have to make my own sound effects. Meanwhile, as we're loading, press enable, click enable, and then it's loading. And it should be enabled shortly. In the meantime, I will show you this navigation menu where you can see all the Google Cloud products over here. All right. I'm not going to go through everything, but just showing off. All right. So while that's enabling, let's go to the next step. Okay. So additional prerequisites, we create the Google Cloud project. Okay, fine. We did that. And now we download the sample code. So we go to the Node.js sample app repository, which is in GitHub. So all the sample apps are over here. We're going to pick something in App Engine, Hello World, and then we're going to go with standard. So App Engine, Hello World standard. So we're going to download this. And guess what? I'm so prepared. I already have it in my own localhost. I've already downloaded it for you so that we don't have to download it again. So let's go over this App Engine node, I call it. So the sample code is simple app.js express app that says hello world and then listens to the port 8080 or to whatever is provided in the port environment, the port variable in the environment. And then we have an app.yaml file that just says the runtime is Node.js 10. We have the normal package JSON for JavaScript apps. Okay, so now let's run it. How do we run it? We run the script over here. npm start. So let's do that. npm start. Okay, so now it's listening to localhost 8080. Let's check that out. Let's go here. Let's type localhost 8080, not 3000, 8080, and boom, we got hello world. Now let's replace that hello world with something more interesting. Let's replace it with, where is that? Ideathon. What is this? Ideathon 2021. All right, save that. We have to refresh. Oh, that doesn't work. So we have to rerun our app again. Control C, rerun start, and that should give us Ideathon 2021. That kind of looks boring and ugly. So actually, I want to kind of spice things up a little bit. So what I usually do is I go to Bootstrap, getting started. I don't know if you've tried this. You go over here and say, okay, Bootstrap, getting started. We click that. And then we look for stuff. This is what I usually do. Look for some templates over here. Oh, this is some templates over here. This one's pretty cool. I like this one. Okay, this one. Then what we do is we right click and then we say view page source. and then we get this and we copy and we paste. Yeah, this is not best practice, guys. You don't usually do this, but we're not talking about best practices right now. We're just talking about getting things done. So we paste that, we save that, and then we see how it looks like. Okay, start it again. We refresh, we hide the evidence, we refresh, and oops, it's broken. All right, why is it broken? Well, it's because the CSS is not there. So let's go back. Let me open that back. Where's that? Okay, let's get the files. This one, and then this one. Let's hot link that. Okay, not great to hot link, but for now we're doing it because we just gotta get things done, right? Paste that. There's one more. Jumbotron narrow. Look for it over here. Okay, we paste that, replace that. Okay, now then we hide the evidence. Okay, let's see if something comes out. Sorry, wrong. Okay, let's restart it. npm start, refresh, and oh yeah, we're almost done. Okay, one more thing. We just need to change the title. We say Ideathon 2021. We put that everywhere because that's all we can say right now. So let's go. Let's remove this project name. Let's remove that. Let's replace home with Ideathon 2020. Let's replace this one project name with Ideathon 2021. Let's remove the navigation because we have nowhere else to go. We use this one. We'll say, welcome to Ideathon. There you go. And then we say, what do we say here? Go make some solutions. World problems. Wow. Such a big thing. All right, let's remove that button and let's remove this part over here, marketing. And then lastly, the most important bit, we replace this one with 2021. And then we say Ideathon. And now we've made it ours. Copy is complete. We now restart. And ta-da-ta-da. Welcome to Ideathon. We'll go make some solutions to world problems. All right, we got this. Now time to deploy. It's worthless in localhost. So let's go deploy it. So how do we deploy it? Well, we'll go back to the tutorial. We have that. Run hello world locally. Fine. Now deploy and run hello world and app engine. Great. We just have to type gcloud app deploy. Okay, let's do that. Let's go back here. Whoops, wrong window. Over there. Control C. Oh, it's being blocked. Let me make this bigger so that you guys can see it. There you go. All right, now let's type gcloud app deploy. And I just have to add -- project equals Ideathon demo because that's our project ID. And let me link to it. Let me show you where it is. It's over here, right? We go to the home page. We can see our project ID is Ideathon demo. All right, so we make sure we put that so that it knows where to deploy. I keep shifting to this wrong window. Anyways, there you go. You hit enter, and now it starts to deploy. And then it makes me pick. Okay, it makes me pick. What does it make me pick? It makes me pick a region. I'll pick the closest one to me, which is number 1, I think, Asia East 2. I press that. You should generally pick the region closest to your users. If your users are like in the Southeast Asia region, then there's some Asia East 2 and a couple of other Asia regions. If your users are in the West, like United States, then pick some of the US regions. Do you want to continue? Of course I want to continue. Why ask me weird questions like that, right? Like, I just went gcloud app deploy. Why do you want me to go, to confirm? Well, actually, it's good to confirm because now we know that it's targeting the project Ideathon demo. It's targeting the service default, and the version is this. And now this will be the URL when it's up. So right now, it's still updating the service. This will take a couple of minutes. Actually, a couple of minutes. I mean, like a couple of seconds, actually. The most, maybe 2 minutes, because this is the first deployment. But, yeah, I don't know what else to say while showing you this. So I am just going to go over here and show you other parts of the Google Cloud Console. So App Engine is this one. You go over here, you go to App Engine. And as you can see, I have nothing there because it's still deploying. So really, I can't really show you much. at the moment, except watch this as it is deploying. Okay, so let me put some announcements then while we're waiting for this to deploy. If you have any questions about App Engine or Shangyi's previous talk about Firebase, make sure you put them in the chat, and the organizers will highlight them for us to answer during the question and answer portion later. Question and answer after the talks. So please do put your questions there. I know most of you are students, so I think you have questions. Oh, something is moving. Okay. All right. Best part of this is it says file upload done and deployed service to this. So let's click this URL. Actually, let's follow this link. So let's copy, copy that. Or I could just have clicked that, but it's cooler to just copy. And then now over here, we paste it, ideathon-demo.tf.r.apps.com. And you can go to that yourself. And dun, 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 dun. We got welcome to Ideathon. Go make some solutions to world problems. Cool. So now it's online. The next thing we can do actually is we refresh this. Remember App Engine? We go back here. Make sure you're on your project. Select. Come on. Ideathon demo. Keep selecting. I already have this one. Come on. Refresh. App Engine. Maybe I have to do a hard refresh. Hold on, let me see. Refresh. Ta-da. Okay, I did a hard refresh and it still shows me that. Let me do that one more time. So what am I trying to show here? I am trying to show you. There you go. Finally, I have this. That I have my control panel for App Engine. And I can see the services that are running. So I have the default service running. So, and then I can see the versions. And right now I have this version, the only version serving 100% of the traffic, which is this one. Now, what I wanted to show you was this part. We go to settings and you can go to custom domains. When you go to custom domain, you can add a custom domain. So we can replace this thing, this URL that says ideathon-demo.tf.r.appspot.com with something like ideathon2021.com, which is so much cooler. Okay, so that is App Engine. That's how you get a website up online. You can also do that with Firebase, but with App Engine, it has much more focus on the back end and controlling that. But if you just want purely front end, Firebase is the way to go. Okay, so next, what do we do? Well, let's go back to Google Cloud. So we go back to products. The other things I wanted to show you actually were this cool AI and machine learning products in Google Cloud. So we have compute. We just showed you App Engine. Next thing I'm going to show you is this AI and machine learning. And I'm going to show you not just two more, but actually more than that. So let's click some of these. Let me close these links. We'll clean up our browser. We click speech to text. Whoops. What happened there? Oh, what happened there? Okay. Speech to text. Come on. Open up products. Okay, we click speech to text and then we have Vision AI. All right, so let's start with Vision AI. So with Vision AI, what does Vision AI do? Well, we have something that we call the Vision API. I really like the Vision API because one of the things that most apps do now is that you upload like a photo right into the app, and then you want to be able to find out what the photo is about. Like you can give it tags. You want to know where the face of a person is, if there are people in that photo. Why don't I just stop talking about this and just show you what this is? So for example, let's try this API. It detects objects automatically, and yeah, let's not do the marketing blurb. Let's just try the API. Okay, so I need a photo. I don't know if this one. I'm gonna go to Facebook. I'm gonna find maybe a DSC Developer Students Club Singapore. I don't know if that's you guys, but let's see if I can find some over here. I think this is it. Yeah, I think this is you guys. I think maybe. So all right, there's some. Well, let's take this photo actually. No, I want something with people's pictures. So this one, all right. Okay, let's take this photo. I'm gonna screenshot this photo. Okay, screenshot that photo, and then I'm gonna put that in here. So let's find that photo. Let's find that screenshot that I just put. So I have it over here. It's over here. Okay, let's open it up. Let's upload it to the API. Now it's gonna ask if I'm not a robot. This doesn't usually happen when you're hitting the API. This doesn't happen at all when you hit the API. But for the demo purposes, I have to confirm that I'm not a robot. And it will then analyze this image. It's now analyzing this image for all sorts of stuff. And as you can see, first thing is it detected faces. It detected all faces. Fortunately, it would have been so awkward if one face there, like one person there was like not detected as a face. Oh my goodness. So fortunately, it all detected faces. And what else? It detected the emotion of that face. In fact, it detected so much more than just emotion. If you actually look at the, I can show you. If I can show you the JSON over here, the JSON, you click this over here, and you could see, okay, I clicked that, but nothing's happening. Okay, there you go. This one will show you actually the exact URL to hit, the request, and the response that you get. So this is the request that you send to the API, and this is the response that you get out of it. So as you can see, it tells you like so many things. So many things. So it even tells you where the right eye top boundary is, where the right eye right corner is in terms of position, where the right eye bottom boundary. So it's very, very accurate. Okay, so it tells you like where it is. You have the chin left gun. I have no idea what it is. Gunyan, left cheek center, right cheek center. Tells you the pan, the roll of the face, anger likelihood, and so on and so on. All right, but that's not all. It doesn't only tell you the face. It can also tell you what objects are there. So it detected how many persons. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It detected all the persons, telling you there's persons in the photo. Labels. Well, it tells you that there's some facial expressions there. There's some font over here. There's some circle. There's a brand, sharing, advertising. This is what you can use for tagging the photo. Labels, right? A user uploads a photo. You send it to Google Vision API. You get in return you get labels. You can use it as tags so that people can search that photo. Text. Well, it reads all the text in here. So it read Google, consider in 2021, Google, so much solution challenge over here. As you can see, coding competitions. It is able to do OCR and extract text, hash code, kickstart, intro to Google coding competition. So that whole paragraph over here. So you can see even detected like the logo of Google there turned to text. Even the slightly angled text right here, it even detected that. All right. So, okay. Next, properties. It tells you like, I actually don't understand what properties is. So you could probably look at that and tell me what it is. But lastly, there's also this thing called safe search. Now, what is safe search useful for? You know, when you have a public application, there are just some naughty people, and then they upload stuff that are not supposed to be uploaded in your app, for example. This helps you detect those and moderate automatically. Like for adult content, for spoof content is like you're making fun of public personalities, for example. Like you would put for example, Kim Jong-un's face with Donald Trump's orange hair, right? And a picture of that. That's a spoof. Some people find it offensive, so you could detect that, prevent that from being uploaded to your app. Depends on your policies, but this helps you enforce that. Medical, for example, like surgery, internal organs being shown. Some people don't like that, or maybe you don't want that in your app, so it's up to you. You can use this to detect violence and racy as well. So here you go. You can use this. Very useful. I've used this API. Very cool. Okay, so that's Vision API with images. Another thing I want to show you is something called speech to text. All right, so speech to text is maybe you can have voice commands in your app, right? Like you can give your app voice capabilities. So how would you do that? Well, there's this speech to text API which you can use to do this. For example, let's do microphone. I'm going to speak to this and let's see if it works. So my language is English. It supports multiple languages. So let's go with English. And I'm going to start now. It's going to ask me, I'm not a robot. Again, this only happens for this demo. And I'll just keep talking. So hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me this Saturday. And I am demoing right now the Google Cloud Speech to Text API, which is product of Google Cloud, which is pretty cool to use by developer student clubs and people in the Solutions Challenge for Ideathon 2021. Okay, so it clearly missed Ideathon because Ideathon is actually a new word, so it just thought ideas on, right? Which is close, but again, it has some limitations. But look at it; it's pretty good. It read what I wanted to pretty much say. So you could use this to convert speech to text that you can process either for transcription or for you to create commands for your application. Okay, so what if you want to do the reverse, right? You want to convert text to speech. Well, we can do that too. So let's go to AI machine learning. Let's go text to speech, and then let's wait. And then here, this is a text to speech API. Let's remove that. This one's kind of like boring. So let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Let's give it a hard word. Welcome to Ideathon 2021, where students in well, I'm going to say Singapore, where in the world are going to solve really, really, really big problems. Let's do this. All right. So let's do that, and then let's speak it. So I don't know if you can hear it, but let's see. I hope you can hear it. I'm turning on this. Let's go. On a robot.
Hi everyone. Welcome to Ideathon 2021, where students in the world are going to solve really, really, really big problems. Let's do this.
It's a bit boring, so let's change up the word, the voice name. Let's give it I think this ENUS wavenet F. It's a female, so this is probably better. Audio device profile. Okay, that's one. Speed. Let's increase the speed a little bit. Give it more excitement. 1.5. There you go. Let's speak.
Hi everyone. Welcome to Ideathon 2021, where students in the world are going to solve really, really, really big problems. Let's do this.
But it's amazing that it actually read Ideathon, right? It kind of said Ideathon, even if that's a new word. Now, another thing that I like to do is change the English United States to like somewhere else. So for example, English India. So this time it's gonna have like the Indian version of English or the Indian accent, which is pretty cool. Look at this.
Hi everyone. Welcome to Ideathon 2021, where students in the world are going to solve really, really, really big problems. Let's do this.
So you can actually localize the text to speech to where you are, your target market, right? So if you're putting this in India, they will not feel comfortable with English in the United States. You want to use something that's pretty much like the Indian that they can understand. And for the United States, you can use United States. For Philippines, this is ours. All right? This is how we sound like.
Hi everyone. Welcome to Ideathon 2021, where students in the world are going to solve really, really, really big problems. Let's do this.
I feel so at home just listening to this. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's Vision AI. That's speech to text and text to speech. And lastly, let me see if I have one more here to show you. Actually, I don't, but what I wanted to show you next was something called AutoML, which is, for example, you wanted to send something to Vision AI, right? But you wanted to return not just random labels like font or person. You wanted to return like whether is this well, for example, if you're classifying, you're letting your users upload a picture of an ID, for example, like an identity card. Well, that's kind of dangerous to ask to upload, but you're asking them to upload it, and you want to detect if it is whether if it's a passport or whether it's an identity card, for example. A passport or identity card, there are two different documents. So now you want to detect if it's a passport or identity card, and just those two things. So what you can do with AutoML is, we call it AutoML Vision, is you can customize AutoML Vision classification. You can customize Vision API by uploading sample photos of what a passport looks like and sample photos of what an identity card looks like and variations of them, so that when your users upload, when you hit the Vision API with AutoML enabled, then it will be using those data that you use for training. So then what will happen is then it will return only either passport or identity card, and it will not say like face, person, or anything else, or the random stuff like that. It will be constrained to the classification choices that you use it to train it. So this is basically how you customize the Cloud Vision API. I've used this multiple times. I use this multiple times for different projects. So it's pretty cool. All right, so in summary, I've shown you App Engine. Okay, I've shown you App Engine under the compute section, which is a serverless application for apps and backends. Really cool to use because you can get it for no cost as well. Plus, you get $300 extra if you're new customer, right? So even if you had to spend for it, you get free credits. So that's compute. And then I also showed you the AI machine learning APIs like speech to text, vision AI, text to speech. I didn't really show you, but I kind of like pointed you into the AutoML if you want to customize vision AI. Now, obviously, there are hundreds of products in Google Cloud. There's too many to go over in just one session or even a couple of series of sessions. So what I will only say to you guys as sort of like a parting thought is wherever you are right now, the most important thing to do is to start. And I'm really happy that you guys are joining this Ideathon 2021 Solutions Challenge, because by starting, that's actually how you get to where you want to be, obviously. But so yeah, the presentation is done. Time for some questions. And yeah, let's do this. Joylene, that's your cue. Your turn.
I'm not in. Yeah, okay. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Albert, on the fun demo. And Google Cloud is sure is interesting to be applied on. Now let's move on to the Q&A. Okay. As I said earlier, any questions for the speakers can be typed in the chat in the Zoom. And yeah, let's start answering the questions, shall we? Okay. Can Shafiq pull out the question? Okay, first question. Hello, Mr. Albert. Can you share your thought on cloud computing revolution?
So cloud computing revolution started, I think, about 15 years ago. That's when, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, Azure, like these are the pioneers that made their clouds, their private clouds available to the public for the public to start using. And I would like to say that cloud computing revolution is definitely the future if it already isn't the present, right? Like I most of the people I know, if not all of the people that I know in terms of programmers, developers, people who are trying to put apps out there are building on top of the cloud. There are some reasons why you might want to not build on the cloud, but those reasons are like extremely like rare. So definitely, if you're not yet, you don't know the cloud yet, definitely have to know the cloud. And by the way, like cloud also means stuff like Firebase. Like Firebase is actually part of Google Cloud. And yeah, that's just what I'm gonna say.
Okay, so and then let's see the next question. Hi, Mr. Shangi. Can you explain RoboScript from Kingston H?
Go, Shangi.
Hi, Kingston. I don't really know what RoboScript is, so I'm just going to do a quick Google search about it. Oh, you mean RoboScript on Android to do robot tests? Is that what you mean?
Let's see.
Yeah. If that is what you mean, then on the subject of Firebase, you can actually use what do you call that? Firebase Test Lab. So let's say you have a mobile app, an Android app, and you want to test on multiple devices. Maybe you want to test on a Samsung Galaxy or what do you have other phones out there, but you only have one physical device with you, right? So Firebase Test Labs has the ability for you to actually add different type of devices in. So basically, you upload your app itself, including your RoboScript as well, and then it can actually help you run testing on Firebase platform itself. So it will run on different devices with screenshots and videos to tell you where things has gone wrong and stuff like that. So if that is what you mean, then yeah.
Okay. Does this answer your question? Like this first two question? For those who are asking, please let us know on the chat down below. Okay, next question. How do we address or resolve the data security issue, which is a huge concern among consumers of cloud computing? From Kai Yu Chen.
Yeah, maybe
Who's gonna
Albert,
answer for this
you
one?
can go ahead.
How do we address resolve the security administration concern amongst consumers of cloud computing? So, different users have different requirements for data security. So, for example, financial applications or those applications that would handle private information. For example, like when I gave an example a while ago where you ask your users to upload an identity card, that would have a higher sense of data security than if you were asking people to upload cat photos, right? So depending on your requirement, there are different ways you can use the data security features on Google Cloud. But at the base level, the data in cloud and in Google Cloud is stored in an encrypted format, both at storage and at rest. Meaning, when the data is saved in Google Cloud, it is encrypted. So even if like somebody like peeks into the hard drive, they can't really decipher that data. And then they can't really see that data. They can't really understand the data. On transit, when the data is being transmitted from the cloud servers to the applications, this is also encrypted. To the cloud servers, it's also encrypted, and of course, from your application using HTTPS, that's also encrypted into your to your front-end client. Now, there are also settings and configuration that allow you to define settings that even Google Cloud itself cannot read your data. This is called like client-supplied keys, for example, client-supplied encryption keys, where even the cloud itself, the cloud provider Google Cloud, cannot even decipher the data. Only your application can. This is used for higher requirements of cloud security or data security. Now, this also makes life a little bit harder for the developers and for you. So this is a dial, this is like a trade-off. When you make your app more secure, usually it's harder to use. When you make your app like easier to use, sometimes it becomes I would say less secure. But when I say less secure, it doesn't mean insecure. It's just like less secure, right? So less secure than high security. Like for example, like if you were gonna walk into a central bank, that would be like very high security. Or you can walk into a bank branch, and it would be like less security. It's still secure, but it's not as secure as the central bank. I'll stop there. I think that's enough.
Okay, thank you for the answer. And then let's pull up the next question. Oh, also Kingston said, yes, thank you, Mr. Xiangyi.
Okay, great.
Okay, let's pull up the next question. Is it possible to deploy our own machine learning or deep learning model with Google Cloud? And if it is, how do we do that? It's from Timothy.
Yeah, so yes, it is possible to do that. You can do it using your compute engine, that environment. You deploy it like that. You can deploy it using Docker, for example, and deploy it on Cloud Run. That's also possible. If you want to deploy it in ML Engine, you would need to train it in a ML Engine compatible way. For example, like TensorFlow model. Depends on what your model is. There are some like for AutoML, for example, you have to use AutoML to deploy it in AutoML. For you to deploy the ML Engine, you have to train it using ML Engine compatible machine learning frameworks and libraries. But if you want your own custom machine learning model, you can still wrap it in a Docker container and deploy it in the cloud, and you can still serve that model from there.
Wow, that sure is interesting. Okay, so next question. Let's pull up the next question. Why are there fewer crash reports in analytics than crash reporting? It's from NTU Kai Yu Chen again.
I don't know whether this is addressed for Google Cloud, but for Firebase,
Definitely
I
Firebase.
am assuming it's for Firebase, right? Why are there fewer crash reports in analytics than crash reporting? Do you mind describing more of what you actually mean here?
Okay. To the person asking this, maybe you can answer first, and then we will move on to another question and go back to your question after you elaborate the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. From Royston, if I am to add MQTT into the IoT application, how to go about adding MQTT function in machine learning and deep learning?
Okay. So if you're gonna use MQTT for IoT, right? What the thing I can think right now is you could actually push that data onto a real-time database or any sort of storage you would like. It can be a JSON, whatever. Then you actually can create a cloud function. A cloud function's job would be to actually trigger a cloud, what do you call that? The ML. I think the ML provides you a API endpoint which you can pass data in. So if you want, you can actually pass that data in, and then you need to train your custom model based on that data. So then you will need to build the entire part where Google Cloud helps you take that data and throws it into the custom model that you have created. So I think it doesn't really matter whether using MQTT or if you're just using HTTP, as long as you define the infrastructure as how the data flows from your device to Google Cloud itself. So yeah, if I'm not wrong, the ML APIs, one of the few ML APIs provide you an API access layer, HTTP REST API access layer. So you could call it from a cloud functions or even any sort of app that you would like. So if let's say you decide not to use Google Cloud for cloud functions or serving or creating a compute engine or anything, you can always just call the API from Google ML to help you out with that.
Okay, thank you. And let's pull up the next question. Is it possible to test and train an object detection model using the AI and ML API on Google Cloud? It's from Martin.
So object detection using the AutoML. I don't think you can do object detection like if you have boundaries on the object. You'd have to do that using something else. Run it on TensorFlow, not on the AI and ML API, on the AutoML. I don't think, but you can do label classification. Let me actually Google that quickly. AutoML object detection. Oh, it does actually say. So I'm outdated. It does say. Oh, it does. So yes. So that's a new thing. That's a cool thing. I'm even learning something new today. This is so amazing. Events like this, they teach you all sorts of new stuff, including the speakers. So yeah, thank you for letting me know. It does say here that you can do object localization. So you can do object detection on AutoML. I don't know how to do that exactly yet. So I'm going to check that out right after this session. You should too.
Maybe you can share it on your Twitter, on Instagram, like how to do it.
After I find it out, sure, why not?
Yeah. Okay, so next question. Wait, where is the question? Okay, so this is quite a long question. So they're gonna separate it into two banners. But I'm just gonna say all the question. So last year there was an AWS outage that rendered several important services around the unusable. If we were to use Google Cloud for our day-to-day operation, for example, the storage and AI API, and if somehow a dystopian event happened, example, Google Cloud servers Southeast Asia goes down, does Google Cloud implement any failover or load balancing techniques or strategies to mitigate that?
Yeah. So
that's a long one.
well, the short answer is yes, right? Google Cloud services usually have a service level agreement of 99, depending on the service, but usually it's like 99.95% up, the very minimum. So 99.95% That's what is that? 0.9995 times 365 days a year. That's still, wait, well, let me get my math is wrong. 0.05. Okay, 1, 2, 3. That's still 0.18 days, so that's times 24 hours. That's still 4 hours of downtime per year, cumulatively, right, on services at a 99.95% SLA. Now, obviously, Google doesn't even hit 4 hours of downtime cumulatively per year on most services, but it's impossible not to happen. Now, if your service, for example, is you want higher uptime than that, then you would need to implement other things. So getting from 4 hours of downtime to less than 4 hours of downtime per year is actually pretty hard and expensive to do properly. Even just the switching from a failover, from a main line to a failover, could take like several minutes. So now you're down, right? Like during that time, data syncing issues and so on and all. So what I'm basically saying is that cloud is the most reliable or stable production systems that you can build on top of. And yes, they're not perfect; they still go down. But let me tell you, when I was running my own systems, one time when it went down, it was down for 3 days, and yeah, 3 days. Like that's how long mine took when it was down. Now I have services, and yes, they go down maybe like a few minutes every few months, but at least I'm not the one running around with a pager. I'm not the engineer who's like running around. All I do is just wait while Google runs around and figures out how to repair it, and then it just goes back to normal, right? And again, it happens. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Okay. Thank you. And let's go to the next question. To both Mr. Albert and Mr. Shangi, both Google Cloud and Firebase seems to provide an ML API with similar features, and both can be used in mobile and web applications. Are there any scenarios in which we should use the Google Cloud's ML API or Firebase ML API instead?
So let me answer on the Firebase point of view. So why is there two separate ML APIs here? So the thing from Firebase point of view is that as developers, most of the time, we don't really know anything about machine learning, right? So it is targeted for people who don't really know machine learning but want to have it in their app. So what Firebase SDKs do, especially for web mobile apps itself, is that they have already included very lightweight models, on-devices models for face detection, landmark detection, OCR, etc. All of these lightweight models are already embedded inside your app if you include the ML SDK for mobile. So what does that mean is that it works without internet connection. So you don't have an internet connection, you're still able to do detection, but it can be slightly less accurate depending on the hardware type you have on your phones. So maybe a Google Pixel device would render more accurate results compared to other phones, but it is pretty much usable. And if there is internet connection, it actually uses the models on the cloud itself to help you with that. So from the Firebase point of view, it's pretty much plug and play. You just include the SDK and you have access to the existing pre-trained models already. If you have a custom model that you want to use yourself, you can actually just add it on the Firebase console. So let's say I want to train to look for pictures of monkeys. Maybe monkeys is already done. So let's say you have a some random artifact that only you have in existence, which I don't know could be what, that you want to detect it. You can actually submit a series of photos with those images to Firebase console. And what it will do, it will process in the background and give you a lightweight model, which you can just download and embed into your application. So now, from Firebase point of view, your mobile apps are able to perform extra machine learning besides just the standard models you have. So your custom trained models are now working on device without the internet. And if the internet, it gets a better accuracy version of that itself. So going back to that point, Firebase job is just to help you as mobile engineers add machine learning as fast as possible. So you don't really need to think from their point of view. You don't really need to have machine learning engineers to help you out with that. But in the event you do have machine learning engineers who can fine tune those models, you basically Firebase actually allows you to upload those models to Firebase as well. So Firebase actually sits on top of the Google Cloud platform. So internally, it is still running on the Google Cloud APIs. So most of the time, it's just a proxy, a gateway proxy to just Google API features. So if you're scared of running into Google Cloud because they have like super many tons of features, right? You can always fall back to Firebase because Firebase is a more simplified view of what Google Cloud has. So there's a specific button in the Google Firebase console. When you click, it actually shows you the exact same thing on Google Cloud. So you basically can fine tune your controls on Google Cloud. But if you're satisfied with what you have in Firebase, you can just use it as well. So that's my interpretation of how Firebase does machine learning.
Okay, so now Mr. Albert can answer.
Oh, I think what Changi put it pretty well. In summary, it's basically like Firebase is. I would recommend Firebase actually for beginners because you don't have to worry about so many things under the hood and you just get things done. And Firebase takes care of everything else you don't need to worry about. Now, in the rare case that you want to go deeper and you have like customizations you want to do that are not available in Firebase, but let me tell you, Firebase covers like 99% of the use cases. But if you have like this rare 1% use case that you want to implement, it's not implemented in Firebase, yeah, go ahead. You can use Google Cloud for that. But it does take a little bit longer to implement things in Google Cloud because you have to do them yourself. Unlike Firebase, where you just click, 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 download, click, upload, like it's magic. So yeah, I use Firebase as well, just letting everybody know.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Timothy? Let us know on the chat down below. Okay, so since we're running out of time, we have last two questions. Okay, the first one is, what is the difference between elasticity and scalability in cloud computing?
Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick Google on what elasticity means because I haven't really looked at it so much. Okay, I'm just gonna take a guess here. This is something you can also Google, but basically, scalability refers to like, hey, today you want to serve like 10 users, and tomorrow you want to serve 10,000 users. Scalability is of like how you get there. Like your application is scalable if you are able to adjust your application quickly to be able to accommodate 10,000 and 100,000 and a million users, right? So that's what you call scalable without difficulty. Now, elasticity, I guess, would be like if you have like moments where you're viral, right? Like you go viral, then you go down. So then your application is elastic, meaning it rebounds. So it scales up and then scales down. I'm pretty much really just guessing over here. So you can verify my answer and Google look it up. It's more of like a trivia question. But yeah. I've never been asked that before, by the way, for anything like that. Like, what's the difference between elasticity and scalability? I don't know.
Okay.
My app works and it works to everybody, like all the users out there, whether there's few or many. Google Cloud takes care of making sure that it scales to accommodate a large number of users.
Yeah, just to add to that point, I think sometimes we seldom come across the term elasticity in cloud computing, but we do hear a lot of auto scaling. So my understanding of elasticity could be towards auto scaling, meaning if suddenly, like what Albert said, there's a spike in users, your infrastructure helps you do everything yourself. The cloud computing vendor knows when to provision extra resources to handle that load without your intervention. So that would be leaning towards auto scaling, and I think in this case elasticity. So yeah, I will put it that way.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have our last question from the earlier question. How do you? No, not this one. The
deja vu.
What? Why are there fewer crash reports in analytics than crash reporting? So the person who asked the question elaborates, when the app extends the Android app class, there's concurrency issue. How do we ensure safe multi-process when adding crash reporting into the app?
Okay. I roughly can see what you mean. So in my current company, we do use Crashlytics as well. So what happens here is that I guess the challenge you have right now is that you are having crashes across multiple users, which you can't trace back how it happened. So there could be some sort of crossing in between two different crashes. So if that's what you mean, so usually what we do at Hubble is that we add a lot of extra data towards the crash report. So usually we add breadcrumbs. So you can actually add activity, you can actually add logs that leads towards a specific crash. So for example, if I want to determine what caused this particular crash itself, you usually need to include some sort of identifier, a session ID, so that you can identify, you can differentiate between session 1 and session 2. So that way you won't confuse between your crashes. So for example, when the user logs into the app, I include the user ID as part of my Crashlytics information as a breadcrumb to say that, hey, this user started using the app, so you can use Crashlytics set user name to this username, and then you can include other information as well. So for example, you can include analytic information. So if you're integrating with Google Analytics, you can keep track of the button clicks, the interaction, as long as you configure them properly. And that way you kind of get a rough idea as to what the user has done before leading to a specific crash. So in the event you receive multiple crash reports and you might be confused between two different crash reports, you have to use these IDs as a way to track your user journey towards a crash. So the Crashlytics report itself, I wouldn't say there's a separation between threads. I would say it's an instance of its own. So Crashlytics lives as a single instance. Any sort of crash is just included in the next time the app. Every time a crash happens, what Google Crashlytics does is it will actually save all of the information into a file somewhere on your app, and then every time the app starts, it will always check that file and re-uploads it to Firebase Crashlytics. So during that process, you have to make sure you include enough information to identify the user journey or things that you can separate between a crash report A and a crash report B. So there could be two different users using the same device that might have the same crash, but if you want to separate them accordingly, you have to include your own custom information inside. Yeah. So I hope that helps answer your question.
Okay, so yeah, that's the last question, I think. And before we finish off, so we're gonna take a photo. So to everyone in the Zoom, you guys can turn on your camera and we're gonna take a photo. Wait, let
Hold
me
up,
see
I probably
everyone.
need to go in Zoom.
Do I need to go to Zoom?
Oh, no, you guys can just be here.
Okay.
And Shafiq will take a picture of us and everyone in the Zoom together, like side by side. Wow, there are no one turning on the cam. That's so sad.
Wow.
Everybody turn on your camera. That is kind of sad, you know. No one's turning on their camera.
Every Saturday
Then we
morning,
just-
what do you expect?
Yeah, everybody be looking like, I'm so tired. It's still too early. Oh, someone said we are still in bed.
Yeah, maybe they're lying on the bed looking at the screen, or some have dozed off already.
Yeah, looking like. Then we just take a picture with the names on the side. Okay, so let's pose. 3, 2, 1. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Did you get that, Shafiq? Did you get that? Did you get the picture? I think he got it. Okay.
You can also
So,
like
well,
YouTube frame. So you can pause
Sorry?
the YouTube video and then like that's it.
oh yeah, that makes sense. yeah. That makes sense. And then we just screenshot everybody who is on the Zoom and just like put it side by side. Okay, so I guess that concludes today's event. Thank you so much for the speakers for coming in Saturday morning, and to all the audience who are tuning in the Zoom. And don't forget that we will have another session later at 3 p.m. Singapore time where we will be discussing the development goals and how to achieve it using technology. Also, quality education. And later at 7:30 p.m. also Singapore time, we will be having a panel discussion with the 3 previous year Solution Channel finalists. So thank you so much for coming. So see you later at the second session. Bye.
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 Guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Arman Hezarkhani, and in this video, we'll go through the workflow of building a hypothetical... Hi everyone, the mission of this year's Google Developer Student Club Solution Challenge is to solve for one or more of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals using Google technology. Citing the official United Nations website, these goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. They address the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. During this video, I will show you how you can research these goals and brainstorm ideas for your Solution Challenge project. So starting with the official UN SDG site, the first thing I suggest you do is click on each of the goals and read the challenges each goal faces. For example, Goal 1, No Poverty. This page will give you a good primer to the challenges we face on our road to no poverty. And down at the bottom of the page, you can take a look at the facts and figures and the breakdown of targets defined for each goal. There's also an infographic you can check out to get a high-level overview of the current state of things as it relates to the specific goal. Go over the rest of the goals to get familiarized with them and see if any ideas come to mind about solutions you can build using technology. If ideas do arise, write them down to brainstorm further later. Another great site that can really help you generate solution ideas is DIAL, which stands for Digital Impact Alliance. We're going to focus on 2 tabs, SDGs and the building blocks, but I urge you to look at the other tabs. They are just as useful for your ideation stage. Okay, so let's look at the SDGs tab and take a look at Goal 2, Zero Hunger. This goal has 8 targets, which help you focus on solving a certain aspect of the goal. For example, Target 1, which summarizes as end hunger by ensuring access by all people to good, healthy food all year round. Okay, so immediately ideas start to spark. Maybe you can build a charity app that either accepts donation-safe healthy food or accepts monetary donations dedicated to providing food. Or maybe you can build a volunteering platform that brings people together to help the community at risk. Brainstorm with your team and see what aspects of these problems you are familiar with, or maybe you have access to communities who are dealing with the challenge. Having personal knowledge of a problem will allow you to design solutions which are far more effective and easier to adopt. Now, let's take a look at Goal 10, Reduced Inequalities. Target 1, achieve and sustain income growth for the bottom 40% of the population at a rate higher than the national average. What a well-defined target. Okay, so now you can start brainstorming again on how you can achieve progress through technology here. Maybe you can build an app or a platform that educates people on financial and saving strategies. Or maybe you can help small businesses grow through education apps or e-commerce and marketing apps that are specific to your community. For example, in my community, the elderly struggle with finding online educational content, and I might consider building an elderly-friendly educational platform. This platform can potentially provide the elderly with equal opportunities at learning new skills and at increasing their income. You'll see that going through these web pages will spark many ideas in your mind. Write them down and discuss them with your team. See which idea really strikes a chord with your ability and your belief. You'll be working on this for a while. You want to solve a goal that you are passionate about or that's really close to home. In the next video in the series, I'll be going through a demo case study. I'll pick up an idea and simulate the steps my team and I will take towards a successful demo submission. I hope the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals inspire you to solve for your community in a meaningful way. We can't wait to see all of your demo submissions.
Developer student clubs are university-based communities where students learn about Google technology and use their skills to solve local problems. Welcome to the Developer Student Club's 2020 Solution Challenge Demo Day.
Developer Student Clubs train thousands of student developers globally and work with their communities to solve real-life problems. Google selects amazing students from across the globe once a year to be a Developer Student Club lead and start a club on their campus. These leads believe knowledge is power and that technology can do extraordinary things for the world. They take on the responsibility to help students learn and empower these students to solve real problems around them. Join us in building a global community for students.
82% of teams struggle with inefficiency in innovation. Testing and validating ideas is still a tedious physical process involving pens, post-its, and is difficult for teams who work remotely. Tracking the progress of multiple projects and storing their data is a complex and laborious task. Innovation teams also work on ideas in silos due to the lack of collaborative tools. This leads to a lot of innovation data being lost. Introducing PitchSpot. PitchSpot digitizes innovation frameworks for teams to discover, share, and build validated ideas for product development and venture creation. Reimagine innovation with PitchSpot. Here's how it works. Structure, test, and validate ideas on widely recognized innovation frameworks, such as the Business Model Canvas. Build roadmaps, workflows, and prioritize tasks to gather feedback for ideas. Ensure data security for your ideas stored in the cloud with SSL TLS encryption. Sign up for free to test and validate your ideas. Share your canvas with collaborators or share a view-only link with mentors, stakeholders, and potential investors. Learn faster, measure better, and build validated ideas with PitchSpot, your global launchpad for ideas.